Greetings YouTube and welcome to the Dragoon's Den. Today I've got for you guys a deck profile, and it's a very special one, and it is on Lightsworn. Now I've talked about this in the past, that I would build this, and you saw me get really heated about this, and that's because I have a very personal interest in Lightsworn. And I'll tell you what. 1 year ago, a good friend in the Regina Yu-Gi-Oh community passed away, and one of his favorite decks was Lightsworn. So I figured, in tribute, that I would try to build his deck and try to learn how to play it. And while I don't feel myself to be the greatest Lightsworn player here, I do think that, at the very least, that this is coming along very nicely. And I know that up there, he would be really happy to see how this is going on. So first off, Brendan, this one's for you, buddy. We all miss you here. And yeah, we think of you a lot. That being said, let's get on with the deck profile itself. Okay, so the deck itself is your typical spare of Lightsworn. I am running 3 Judgment Dragon because he is the de facto boss monster in the deck, and he is one of the best bosses in the game. You can just drop it, pay 1,000, nuke everything, mill 4. He is a bit hard to set up because drawing it early is awful, but at the same time though, like, this thing can just steal games. There have been many times where my opponent will have like a couple big bosses on the field. I'll have a JD, I just drop it down, blow everything up, swing for 3,000, or in some cases 6,000, and in the rare case a full 9,000. Like, JD is the ever-looming threat monster, and people will like prohibition this thing, or they'll even remove it with DD Crow despite the fact that I can't revive it from the graveyard. Then I'm also running 3 copies of Wolf Lightsworn Beast. I have built the deck to take full advantage of the amount of milling, and I figured 3 Wolf, while it does increase the chances of dead drawing it more often, at the same time I also hit it more frequently with my mills, and I'm just really liking the 3rd Wolf. He's a 2100 body, he gets over Thunder King Ryo, and he's a level 4 light monster you can use to make Radiant Photon Light Periados that we're getting in a couple weeks. 1 week, yeah. Then triple Lila, Chaos Dragons know why this card's great. It breaks back row, baits out bottomless, torrential tribute, that kind of shit. Mills 3, triple Lumina, pitch a card, revive a Lightsworn, she mills 3. This is, I'm really happy this went to 3 on the ban list. Now, if only Charge the Light Brigade could go to 2. 2 copies of Ryko, just 2 because you've got the other ones, and then my 1 of Lightsworns. 1 Jane, 2100 beater, Garoth just works amazing with Lumina, and then Aaron to put shit like Zen mains back into the deck. And then 1 copy of Honest because it's the only one we're allowed. 2 copies of Card Trooper, pretty good card, mill stuff, draws through the deck, crashes with Thunder King. Triple Necro Gardener, you run so many mill cards, this is just amazing. I've won so many games because I had a Necro Gardener in the graveyard. And then for my hand traps, 2 copies of Veiler. I am torn on either running this in the main or running 2 copies of Breakthrough Skill. For the same reasons though, you use it to stop an opponent's key monster effect, and then you can just do stuff on your next turn. 2 copies of Dragodia. There have been times where you'll like get those awkward hands of a wolf and nothing to discard, but Trag can save you. Then 1 Gores for obvious reasons, and then for Chaos Monsters, Blackluster Soldier and Chaos Whisperer. I've been finding myself winning a lot of games off of this thing, backed up with a JD, just being able to go BLS, Judgment Dragon, and just sit on that, or BLS Honest Judgment Dragon. This stuff happens way more often, and Chaos Sorcerer is just another out to things like Zen mains. Rounding it out is 1 copy of Plague Spreader Zombie. I've been really liking Plague in Lightsworn for the longest time, and you mill it, and you can use it with Lumina to make a level 5, you can use it with Lila to make a level 6, like Tempest Magician, and he can also put wolves that are in your hand onto the deck, and you can just mill them off to do things. That's it for the monsters. It's fairly beefy, and again, I've basically been running less spells than I would normally to maximize the amount of benefits I get off of milling. Then for the spells, triple recharge, it's really good. 2 copies of Monster Reincarnation. I'm debating this or Beckoning Light for very much the same reasons. You pitch a card from your hand to get a crucial light monster or such. I've been using this to recycle JDs and Blacklisted Soldiers, I literally went JD, my opponent negated it with a Solemn Judgment, and then I just got it back with this and dropped JD again. Then for the limited cards, one charge, Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, and one copy of Reinforcement of the Army. This is used to get to Jane, to Aaron, and to, more importantly, Garroth. If you charge Illumina, mill a Lightsworn, this is another copy of Garroth, or it's another copy of Aaron if you want to get around a defense position monster that you don't want to deal with. Kicking back Reapers and whatnot. Then for the extra deck, one copy of Wind Up Zemage. You don't go into rank 3s that often, but there are those times where you're going to be able to use them, and I find these two to be the best. This can recycle Necrogardenus. This can just save you for a turn, or 3. Then for the 4s, Black Ship. Again, shit like Reaper, Zemates, get them out of the way. Same for Utopia. Just, it's a big body, block attacks. Path Operative can put Defender monsters into attack position and just run them over. My Stroke is My Stroke. Gaga Cowboy, I don't really use his effect that often, but it's still there for when I can win the game off of his burn damage. And Abyss Dweller is just generally really good. Now, one card I am going to fit in here is Radiant Photon Parados. He's the 2 level 4 light monster exceeds. He can negate effect, put the monster to 0, and when he dies he draws a card. Very good. And I know exactly what I'm going to cut. For the Synchros, when Army Arm, oh yeah, Lumina plus Valor. Catastor, because that happens. Temper Position. This is a fun card in here. You can make it with Lila and Plague Spreader, and you can just pitch those dead wolves in your hand, give them more counters, and just burn your opponent for game or something. Say they summoned your Judgment Dragon. Summon Lila. Do that. One copy of Gaia Knight, the Force of Earth, Scrap Dragon, Stardust, and lastly, Mistworm. Now, this is going to be what I cut for the Radiant Photon Parados, but overall, I am rather pleased with the extra deck. Lava Volcane is also something I will consider putting in here, but yeah, otherwise, I'm rather liking it, and that is pretty much it for how my Lightsworn deck is looking. Again, I've just tried to build it in a manner that's suited to my playstyles and also done in the way that Brendan would do so. And I think he would really appreciate what I've done, and I really hope you guys like this as well. I know it's been a long time since I promised you guys Lightsworns on the Dragon's Den, but I did not want to put this up until I felt I had something that I felt was really, really, really good, and I do feel like this is something that is rather respectable. So, yeah, that is my Lightsworns. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, stay frosty.